How's it and welcome to the e-Golf. Listen to it start up, but it makes no noise. Anyways, we're going to take for a drive over Chappies, and I'm going to tell you a few things about it. So I've had the e-Golf for 2 weeks now, which is a pretty long test, but also a pretty insightful test. A couple of things. So if you're going to buy an e-Golf or any electric car, and like interchange e-Golf with electric car, because this is a more broad opinion on electric cars. The e-Golf's not coming to South Africa, so like just think electric cars. If you're going to buy an electric car, you're going to likely spend the money on having a proper charger installed at home. Okay, and this is a smart thing to do, because you want to be able to fully charge it overnight. You want to be able to get up every morning and know that your car is fully charged. In South Africa, we had load shedding last night. I still woke up this morning, the car was fully charged. So like, can we just drop that stupid argument? So your car is fully charged, you have a proper charger. It comes with a sort of home charging kit. The problem with that is it's like really slow. So if your battery's down like 20-30%, you probably need about 15 to 16 hours on that charger for a full charge. So you want something a bit faster installed at home. It'll still be an AC charger, but you can basically go from 20% to full in about 3 to 4 hours, which is ample. Even if you come home late, you're home at midnight, 2 in the morning, you've got a full charge by 6, 8 in the morning. Okay, so that's like critical. So that's the big thing. You don't want to rely on a public charging network. And this is not a dig at grid cars, this is not a dig at anybody. The reality is, even in foreign countries, and I'll link to a video the Straight Pipes did in Canada, where they had endless hassles with the charging network. There's another video, link in the description, where Marquez MKBHD, they take a Tesla, a Ford Mach-E, and a Audi on a bit of a drive, and the Ford with its public charging network is problematic. Okay, so this is like a universal problem. Tesla seems to be the only one at this point who has solved the charging problem properly. So you don't want to rely, if you own a car like this, you don't want to rely on a public charging network. Yes, they are there. Yes, they do work. It's more hit than miss, but you will have occasions where, well, you're let down. You get there, there's another car charging, you have to wait an hour and a half, 2 hours before you can begin charging your car. You get there, it's offline, you have to get a code. You get there, sometimes it just doesn't work, or the AC charges, done maintenance, whatever, like stuff happens. But if you do get to drive an electric car, this thing is a ton of fun. This e-Golf is only 100 kilowatts. Can I say only 100? But like, you have 100 kilowatts at your disposal all the time. Like, all of it. It's not like there's a build-up. There's no gearbox. It's like a one-speed gearbox. It's like when you step on it, you get 100 kilowatts. It's all there. I drove the e-trons. Those are 300, 400, 440 kilowatts. It's bananas when you think that you step on it, you have all that power immediately at your sort of disposal. And it's a lot of fun. It's very quiet. It's very smooth. You can kind of feel the weight of the cars up. This is just on 2 tons for a Golf. So you can feel that the weight's up there. You can feel that it's a heavy car. They've compensated for it in the suspension. There's a regeneration mode, or a recuperation mode as I call it, where you can engage it on the gearbox or disengage it. But if it's engaged, the minute you lift off, like, it slows the car down, it retards the car and begins recuperating energy back into the battery. If you drive it really carefully on that mode, you can get quite far. If you hit the open road, like in my previous video where I drove the Nisda, that took 27 hours there and back, and that was mostly just charge here, charge here. Like, slow charges are a pain in the ass. And if you're on the open road, like, it charges a lot more, like trying to keep the car going at 120 all the time. There's very little recuperation mode, so that digs into your usage and obviously drives up your sort of consumption, as you'd like to call it. On the whole, there's a whole bunch of numbers here I'm not going to bore you with, but I'll break it down for you like this. If you charge at home with your home charging electricity rate, even the exorbitant rate that we get charged by Eskom, you're looking at about 1/3 the cost of fuel in a fuel car. If you charge at charging stations, you're looking at about 2/3 of the cost of fuel in a normal fuel car. And that's assuming your fuel car uses like 9-10 liters per 100. Obviously, if you have a really small car with a small engine, that's a different story. If, like me, you have a V8 Touareg that uses about 16 liters per 100, this is probably like 10-20% of the cost of that fuel. So, like, you got to throw the numbers around. It is cheaper to run on a day-to-day basis. It's more expensive to buy. Our lovely government has thought it prudent to rip us off on the tax side. And it's probably more expensive on the front end if you have a proper charger installed at home. Yes, you can do the solar thing, that makes it even cheaper in the long run, but more expensive as sort of a capital outlay in the beginning. Would I buy an electric car? Yes. In fact, I'm trying to work out which one I want and how I would go about getting one. I think this is fantastic. I really enjoy the drive, having driven the i3, the e-Golf, and the e-trons recently. They're not as dull and boring as I think everybody was afraid of, and I think that's the critical issue. It's like everybody was so scared that electric was going to be sucky. Look, a V8 and a V10, there are a few things that compare with that, but if you have to daily one of these, it's nippy, it's quick, it is fast, and it's like the small one, you know. So it's like 100 kilowatt, like, baby. This is the entry level. This is the bottom end of the electric scale, of the EV scale. So am I still an ICE car fan? Absolutely. Would I have an EV in my life? Absolutely. They're fantastic.